Hello everyone and welcome to today's UFI Connects Working from Home. My name is Herberholz. I'm UFI's program manager and your moderator of this session today. I'm thrilled to be here with two brilliant exhibition industry professionals who agreed to open their living room for us and share their experience working from home. With us today, Holger Feist from Messe Munich and Stephan Forseilles from Easyfairs International. Before we start our exchange and reply to your question, let me share with the ones new to this format what UFI Connects is all about. UFI puts in place regular talks, panels, online sessions for you and your colleagues to stay in touch with industry peers, to go through this pandemic together and to be ready for what comes afterwards. All these sessions are free of charge and we reply to the questions and topics that you send to us. Although I prefer to share my cup of coffee with you at one of our annual UFI events, I'm thankful for this exchange that we have through UFI Connects to still share a cup or two. In case you were unable to join any of our past sessions or are wondering what UFI has been up to, go to our UFI TV channel on YouTube and there you have access to all of them on demand. Now, let's look at some housekeeping rules. This is your session. And I invite you to share the questions using the chat function that I see you use already quite heavily to welcome everyone. We have reserved time at the end, so we try to answer as many questions as we can. So how does that work? I will call out your name and will ask you to share your question live. My colleagues, Karen, Jana, and Pascal joining us from their living rooms to ensure your voice is being heard. In the meantime, please continue to listen to your background music. And there is no need to ask your children to be quiet. We keep you all on mute to facilitate the session flow. In fact, why don't you ask your children and your partners to say hi during the session? Because after all, this is UFI Connects Working from Home and I'd love to meet them. Now I'm delighted to introduce Holger Feist, Chief Strategy Officer at Messe Munich, who is also Vice Chair of the UFI Marketing Working Group. Also with us, Stephan Forseilles, who is Group Head of the Technology and Digital Transformation at Easyfairs International and Vice Chair of the UFI Digital Innovation Working Group. Holger joins us from Germany, Stephan from Belgium, and I'm here in France. Throughout the session, we will be using polling and we invite you to take part of it so as to be a little bit interactive of this session. And I suggest we have a first go to try how this polling works. So make sure that you're in front of your computer. With many people forced to be working from home, the question of what to wear at the office suddenly became what to wear to work in the kitchen, the living room, if you're fortunate enough in your garden. So my first polling question for you, what are you wearing working from home? You have a couple of seconds to choose between A, casual below and business on top, B, business casual, and C, business. Feel free to answer. I give you a couple of more seconds so that we all get the drive of that. Closing the poll in 3, 2, 1. Let's have a look. I'm actually quite surprised. I would have guessed more going for A. So that's how we're going to introduce all the topics that we're going to share today. We're going to have a poll in front of each topic and then have Holger and Stephan share. So before we get to that, Holger and Stephan, can I ask you to share what is your dress for success outfit?
You want me to start?
Yes.
Now, first, I was very disappointed. There was no SpongeBob pajamas option in your polling. I would have answered that. But no, honestly, I don't have any dress code. I just wear t-shirts most of the time. And it's much cooler. Well, it's pretty cool at the office anyway, but it's even cooler when you're at home. And I think that I have lots of meetings all the time online and everybody is super relaxed. So I think that people start to think a little bit differently about business attire because we've been used now to meet everyone like in t-shirts and very relaxed clothes. So it might change in the future.
What about you, Holger? Your dress for success outfit for working from home?
Yeah, well, I think one should put it on a timeline, right? Some people started rather formal and then through the process moved gradually. So this is the stage where I am currently sitting here with my t-shirt on. But actually in our law department, I'm in high regard of one of the lawyers there who even at telephone conferences from home wears the tie. I think that has something to do with the profession he's joining.
Thank you both. Okay, let's get started. Let's start with our first topic, getting into it. While for some of you working from home is nothing special, others may have never experienced it before. However, having working everyone at home at the same time, certainly something special. So let's launch our second poll.
Oh, no, we have it now.
We have it?
Yeah.
Lovely. Okay, so you see, was mandatory home working for your organization A, painful, B, painless, C, already the norm before, D, we keep going to the office? Excellent, everyone taking part. So I'm going to close the poll in 3, 2, 1 and sharing the results. I'm not going to comment on the results and I'm going to hand over right to Holger. Holger, for you in Messe Munich, was it a progressive or a sudden change? How did you experience the first days working from home?
Well, first of all, thanks for the question. I think it was good to see that it's painless for most of us, which is actually a great result. It shows that we are adjusting and that we are tech savvy, and more on that later. Also, for me personally, it was really painless. And was it progressive or was it a rush? Well, it was a rush. It was really suddenly. What helped us a lot was that we were actually quite well prepared, almost by accident, because what we had last year was a program that we called New Work. And what we did in this new work program was actually that we covered all kinds of topics around this new work thing that have to do with people streams, places streams, tool streams. And right, with places streams, now not some people got new offices where they could really work on flip charts, be creative, sit together more than separate and so on, interact with one another. That was helpful for the time, and that's not a benefit now. We all hope to see our offices soon again, but the two other work streams really paid in entirely. With people and with place and with tools, we really prepped a lot to get into the new world already. So at the end, it was just a switch to say, let's work mobile next week. And everybody took his or her device and drive home. And equipment was in place, systems, we will come to that later, was in place, and we could start right away. So that was really great. It was a great experience, and I love to see that in the company.
Thank you, Holger. Stephan, what about Easyfairs? How did you experience that?
It was really sudden for us as well. From one day to another, we were in lockdown, so everybody had to stay at home. We had the chance to be already fully prepared with the tool needed for that, because we use Microsoft Teams already quite intensely, mostly for collaboration, not just for video conferencing. We had small technical problems, people had to figure out how to make the camera work, how to make the sound of their computer work and things like that. But that was for the first few days. After that, everything went very, very well, I have to say. You had the occasional person who forgot his laptop charger at the office and things like that, but that always happened. So no, it's business as usual. It was really painless, I think. We already had people working from home 1 or 2 days a week before. We were always quite open about that. But yeah, we understand that it actually really works. And yes, there are special things that you do not have in a normal home working days, like people have to deal with the kids and they do it in different ways. I have people in my team who do shifts, and one of the partners has the kids for the morning and the other for the afternoon, but everybody deals with it quite nicely, I have to say. We also have a lot of people who are partially on temporary unemployment. So they have also more time to keep up with the kids. Yeah, the most difficult thing for us is just to figure out when are specific people working and not working. So we're not inviting them to meetings on days they are not supposed to work and things like that. But for the rest, it's very painless and transparent. We don't really have a problem with it.
And did it take a long time to get used to the new environment and the new working style?
I think that within 2 days, everything was feeling normal for everyone, almost.
Some funny stories, Holger, that we heard were that some people were already in lockdown while their computer was still at the office. Any similar stories that come to your mind?
We experienced that. I experienced myself the story that the first time on my mobile equipment, I had to use the camera because I usually did that over my mobile device. And at the computer, it was just that the camera didn't work. There was a little crush in that. I don't want to imitate here. And the entire picture was fuzzy. So I got lots of compliments for that, for not looking that sharp. But apart from that, it's all fine. And also some key learnings, of course, in the first weeks, it came across that that video call etiquette is really not that difficult, right? Everybody here, everybody in your working environment knows it already, but knows to speak clearly, not to have long monologues as I'm having just right now one, to make sure that people don't pretend to be something that they actually aren't, because it's just a waste of energy, and to stay focused in. And then, of course, in the Corona situation, also to feel for the other person who's sitting right behind the camera there, and just to agree that the situation is not perfect, that I'm not perfect, that nobody else is perfect, but that we are all in this together, and that we're gonna come through this together somehow. And just not putting up masks or whatever, but trying to solve problems, and that's what's currently at stake.
Wonderful. Thank you both. For the audience, if you have any questions on how this first couple of weeks went to both Stephan and Holger, make sure you use the chat function and we'll try to reply to your questions later. You both have already addressed some of the tools that you've been using, or some of the processes that you put in place. So I'd like to put up our next poll and ask the audience, what suite of tools are you using? And it's a multiple choice possibilities. So we're gonna ask you if you use Google, Microsoft, Zoom, WebEx, GoToMeetings, or any others. Out of curiosity, how do you organize yourself to facilitate working collaboratively at home? There's certainly a preference for Zoom coming forward. We got that from the news already, that Zoom is doing quite well. Let's look at the results all together. Stephan, I'd like to ask you first, can you describe how Easyfairs tackled this?
Well, we mostly
from home, yeah.
We mostly use the Microsoft stack, so Office 365 for collaboration. We use Teams quite a lot for everything related to video conferencing, chat, etc. in terms of the whole team. It's true that Zoom is really, I say, powering up at the moment, but they also have a lot of problems in terms of security flows and things like that. So we don't use it. In my team, we use Slack quite a lot, but that's been for years already. We think it's a great tool for communication, for replacing the email and replacing just dropping by in at anyone's desk and asking questions. Slack works very well for that. We use other collaboration tool. I personally love mind mapping, so I use a tool called MindMeister, which is an online collaborative mapping tool, mind mapping tool, which integrates as well in Microsoft Teams. We've recently tried a brainstorming tool called GroupMap, which works quite well in terms when you have to brainstorm with, like, I would say 5 to 10, 15 people together. It's well done for that. And of course, all the usual tools for collaboration that we used before, things like we use a lot of Jira, for example, for everything related to management of the Scrum sprint and all of that, and the ticketing systems is done on Jira for us. These are the main tools that we use. So if anybody has questions on the tools, you can ask in the chat. I will give the links, or you can contact me on LinkedIn or whatever.
That's quite a variety of tools that you have been describing, Stephan, that you use. Do you have a favorite one beside the mind mapping that you use among your team?
If I had to take I think in general, Microsoft Teams is a good one. But I think that probably Google Docs is very good as well in terms of replacing Office 365. They probably both are very, very good, but people are very used to Excel and Outlook. So we use Microsoft Teams mostly, or Microsoft Office 365 mostly for that reason.
Thank you. Holger, what about Messe Munich? What are your tools of choice?
It's actually not the Microsoft promo show here. But nevertheless, I think Microsoft is really strong also with us. We really, I mean, that it worked that well is to quite an extent due that Christian Grodau, our CIO, had a very strong opinion on Office 365 and also on Teams, and that we have it all now is really a gift. It's excellent tool. It works very, very well. Personally, I'm a big fan of the Google G Suite. I use that. I use Google Docs a lot. Those who work with me know that. Also, Google Sheets is something I really love. Maybe the one thing or two things to add on that, Slack, yes, and Trello. Trello is also something that, especially when it comes, because Teams' strength is to work internally, to facilitate internal work, somehow has the one or other backslash when it comes to working with external partners, then sometimes Trello works better for us, or even Slack in cross-organizational collaboration. And then the other thing, also coming back to Microsoft again, is Whiteboard. I really love Whiteboard because, I mean, former consulting guy, I like to draw things and share them with my team. That works very well. I'm looking forward to the Teams integration there, that Microsoft still is somehow due to make it really fully functioning. But it's, anyway, I like the tool here. And then as we started here already in the call, I think this survey thing is something that is very, very powerful to if you can't interact with people live and ask them for their opinion, to collect the opinions there. There a good tool is Mentimeter, for example. There are others out there in the market just to get in opinions and stay ahead of things and know things that are functioning, that typically are tacit knowledge that you only gain by wandering around through the aisles of the company. It doesn't work that well if you're only walking the aisles of your own floor. So having a survey using Mentimeter for something like that is really something that can help a lot to surface things that otherwise would be covered.
Thank you, Holger. And are those tools and processes that you had put in place beforehand that you were working with anyway, or is that something that you completely introduced now while working from home?
Actually, that was, for me, it was the latter ones I mentioned are more or less my private experience, what I like to work with and what happily functions. Our IT also warns a little bit of using Zoom. Congratulations, we are all on a Zoom call here about the security things. But the Teams thing and the Office 365 thing is really the paramount structure that things are running on and that have been installed before. That took a while to make them up and running really smoothly. But where we benefit a lot from now.
Okay, excellent, thank you. Heading to our third topic, are you working at peak performance? We have another poll that is coming up. Is your home working team 1, much less performant, 2, somewhat less performant, 3, same as when in the office, 4, a bit more performant, or 5, they've never been as performant? What do you think? All right, so let's close the poll and see what comes out of it. So how do you keep a potential scaled down team working at peak performance? Do you have the opportunity, maybe that there are no events at the moment, to tackle some other projects? How do you deal with that at Messe Munich, Holger?
Well, maybe that's also because I was used to working like that before, and many in the team as well. I don't see that performance is going down. And in some circumstances, even you can negotiate more to the point if you're on video and kind of detached from the emotional side of a negotiation process, and can be much more to the point. You lose a lot, but it needn't hamper your effectivity, at least in the short term. What I really found difficult, and I must admit here, is to manage different speeds at the same time. So my advice here is really adapt speed to the situation, right? Because, for example, we were fortunate enough to win a leading motor and mobility show to be held in Munich in 2021. So for this team, it's really full throttle ahead, all the speed that we have. We give everything. We work really long hours, and in some kind, it's a different world than the other world where everything is slowing down a little bit and all driven down in a lockdown. Same with the controlling team. My controlling team needs to prepare one financial forecast after the other, right, in that situation. So they also have to go full speed. And then many shows have been postponed, some are canceled, and there we focus on core activities, of course. And the outlook for the summer calendar is somewhat sobering. So of course, this is a different speed, and managing for both of them, that's to my mind the real difficulty, because for each call it takes a minute to think about whom am I talking to right next, in which situation do I talk to these persons, what might be their surroundings that you don't see as clearly in remote work as when you're interacting with them personally. This is, I think, one of the levels of performance management where we really have to get to not lose sight of what is in the backspace of other people.
Thank you, Holger. Stephan.
Well, I have to say that in terms of managing my team, I have about 50 people in the team. I'm not a very hands-on person, even in normal times, and I have a lot of status meetings and things like that. Generally, it's once every 2 weeks with my direct reports. I don't make many more of them. I think if the team is self-organized, especially for the teams that work in an agile way, they normally work pretty well by themselves. And if people are senior enough, basically, there's not much change as far as I'm concerned. One of the problems we have is that as a lot of shows has been postponed, some of our offices has been even completely closed for a couple of weeks. Sometimes it's difficult to get a communication with, as Holger was explaining, with the key users and the end users of the applications. But for the rest, everything works well for the moment. Everybody is super committed to the company, and everybody wants to contribute as much as possible, which is sometimes difficult when you have to ask people, look, can you work a little bit less days for the moment, but still they want to make their project move very fast. But what I see is that all parts of the team keep delivering at a steady pace. Even I have the feeling a bit faster than usual, probably because there are less distractions, because they can be more focused. And in terms of really technology development teams, I have the impression that it works quite well for them to work in that way. Probably you cannot do that for 6 months, of course, but I don't think that more home working in general, in terms of software engineers and things, developers and things like that, would hurt us quite a lot.
Thank you. Talking about the team and the team performance, I think we also should be talking about something that we call social glue. So what happens outside of those business discussions that we're having every day. Moving on to our next topic, how to keep the social glue between team members. How do you keep informal contacts? Wanted to launch the next poll and see what everybody is doing during the time of social distancing. Are you having a daily morning check-in meeting, a daily evening check-out meeting? Are you scheduling maybe even coffee breaks to just have a informal exchange? Or do you just meet weekly? Or do you have even crazier ideas? And I would love to get your comments on that. So closing the poll and sharing the results with everyone. Stephan, a daily morning check-in meeting seems to be the winner in this poll. How do you deal with that?
Well, I don't have check-in or check-out meetings, to be honest. We have, as I said, we have a lot of informal contacts on tools like Slack. We organize, so my boss organizes a happy hour with her direct reports, and we have, sometimes we have teams where we have to dress up, and then maybe I can put, if you see behind me, this is an example of the chats we have, and people are dressed up, and we have a specific games. We do that for 1 hour. It's pretty fun to do once every week. But for the rest, we don't have organized things to keep. Yeah, I think that people have to keep their sense of humor. It's important, and we use all the tools that we can for that. And yeah, there's a lot of things you can do to make people, you know, relax a little bit and have a little bit of fun while they are.
Stephan, I think there might be someone behind you.
Yeah, that guy is been buzzing me all day. So, yeah, you can do things like that, you know, to try to keep things. I'm also trying to launch a trend on our intranet. So if there are people from my team here, they might be, please go on. I'm trying to launch a trend on our intranet about people posting videos about what they do during confinement, new skills they learn. Are you playing music? Are you doing things? So people start slowly posting about what they do, and really open up a little bit about what is it for them to be confined at home. So this is a little bit how we keep people, I would say, close to each other.
And Stephan, do you feel that this is kind of like similar as the amount of social gluing that you did before the confinement, or do you feel that you're doing more now?
Well, I don't think we're really doing more. Of course, we don't have those, you know, moments at the coffee machine or people you were talking with while they were having cigarette and things like that. But it's been replaced by other types of you know, posting jokes in specific channels on Slack and exchanging funny things, and every online meeting we have, generally it's not a rule, but it just works like that. We always start by 5 minutes, you know, chit chatting and what's new and how you're doing and all of that. And yeah, I think we're pretty well aware of how people are feeling, and at least the people we have regular contact with.
Thank you. Holger, how do you handle that with your teams and in Messe Munich?
First of all, I mean, I like people, and yet I'm probably not the go-to person if it comes to cheering up morale. There are some people who can do that much better. Is Nick anyway on the call here somewhere? But sure, I think, I mean, meeting routine helps a lot. So to make sure that nobody feels lost, and this is something that is important in these times. And we also have our social cups of coffee. And one of the big benefits of Trello, Slack, or Teams or whatever is really that I think people are more approachable. If you're sitting behind a wooden door as a boss, you have there's a problem anyway, but in modern times, but you're more approachable in a peak or something in one of these modern media like Teams. So peeking in, small comment, small chat, that's terrific. Just to get engaged and to interact, like Stephan said, on a much more informal basis. And those who are not practicing that too often or too much, I only can encourage you. You get in much better touch with everyone, so you can really take a benefit out of that situation. I also love this idea of crazy things competitions. So actually, which socks are you wearing, right? So this is something we could share. But my most important part here is really the point I want to make. Be kind and smile. This is something I learned here. The one about kindness is really, the one I alluded to before. You never know about the precise conditions other people have apart from their work situation. And you know much worse in this situation right now. First of all, the risk is higher that the other person is experiencing something that is not really satisfactory. And on the other side, it's harder for you to get to know that, because in the office context, you would see it easily. So it's a good idea to watch out for that and to give the benefit of doubt and be kind to the other person, whatever the situation may be. And the second is smile. It makes such a difference if the day starts with a smile or with a grumpy face. And I can look very grumpy. And it was actually a team member that taught me that over the last 3 weeks, because she always started the day with a smile. And that was really, for everyone in the team, that was just wonderful to start the day off like that. then like that. And that's what Stephan also said before. Chit-chatting a little bit is not a waste of time. Actually, it really helps a lot to find out where everybody's starting position is and then dive into the topics. I think these are really things that should be absolutely, you know, self-explanatory, but I think in these times it's important to remind them, and also it's placed out different over these media that we are having our conversation over today.
Do you think that after confinement is over and social distancing is looser, that you will keep any of those processes that you put in place now, the check-ins, the chit-chatting, the social calls, the taking into consideration the surrounding that everybody is in at home? Do you see anything taking forward?
I mean, if I may answer, definitely I see a lot of these things that we can take there. I mean, first of all, the post-corona and the post-corona world, I think the good thing is that people out there do understand what they miss in personal conversation, that they see what they miss in human interaction and in a professional context than what they miss in not taking part exhibitions. So that's good news for us. There is business at the end of the tunnel, if I may say so. And then in this world that we are coming back to, why wouldn't we take the best that we learned now into this new normal? So here actually, I think the claim is add good to new normal, because there will be a new situation, there will be a good new normal, and what we learned now, we can take there. Why not take all our new digital savviness into this world? Why not take our true concern for the person we are talking to into the new normal? And why not taking all the flexibility that we have in the workplace there, and decide whether it's more practical to work from home or from mobile elsewhere, or from companies. I would really expect that this corona crisis is a huge shift into more digitalization and into new work forms. Yeah, I think it's quite evident that we are going that way, and that in that respect, the world will be a better place afterwards.
Thank you. Holger, you just opened up for the last topic that we have seen for this informal discussion today, post-corona, nothing will ever be the same. We're going to launch the last poll that we have foreseen, which is post-corona. What do you think? Things will go back as they were before, or we do more homeworking, less commuting, less traveling, or we do less homeworking because that doesn't at all work for us? All right, let's have a look. So the majority is actually looking to more working from home, as they have done before. Holger, you have already started talking about post-corona. Would you like to add something here?
No, let's get Stephan a chance.
Then directly over to Stephan.
Yeah, it's true that I was reading in a tweet that, you know, the whole world just got a crash course on remote working and doing business remotely. And everybody realized that it doesn't work that bad. And I think that after that crisis, everybody will want to commute less. Nobody is looking forward to get back into traffic jams. I know I don't. They probably will start traveling less, I guess. We see that there are meetings that we were planning to do and to fly in to do that we had to do on video conferencing, sometimes with 10, 15 people, sometimes for 2-3 hours. And it did work quite well. So I think it will be a long-term blow to the travel industry, because people will think twice before traveling again, and they will only do it if they're really obliged to. So I think that we must evolve in our corporate culture, and what is true for us is also true for our customers. They will also want probably to travel less and to commute less. So we need to change both in terms of how we organize our companies and how we organize our business, because that's the first change. The second one is that I think that once this crisis is over, it will only be over until the next one. I see no reason why it doesn't happen again. Maybe we will have, I don't know, a Corona 22 or a SARS 23 or whatever. Things are not getting any better. So I think we should have a kind of a confinement mode switch on our organization. You could say, oh, shit's happening again. We switch into confinement mode. This is how we work from now on. Everybody is used to that. But also in terms of business, just canceling the shows. We've seen recently, especially with new announcements from the past days, that it's not acceptable for our customers to say, oh, sorry, the show is canceled because there's a virus and there's nothing we can do about it. We have to give them, I would say, other options. We have to soften the blow for them a little bit. So we have to look for ways how we can make that work, even if we cannot have the shows. So yeah, it's really a strategic reflection that we have to engage. As Holger said, I think that's just a big booster pedal on the digital transformation of companies. It will force the ones that were a little bit reluctant to really move, and the ones that are late for that are already, I think, suffering more than the others from this situation. But if it happens again in the future, definitely everybody needs to be more ready than we were, and we should not think that, yeah, okay, it's over. When it's over, we are safe again and it's business as usual. I don't think business will ever be business as usual again.
Okay, thank you, Stephan. How about we go look into the Q&A and see what the audience have asked throughout the session. For the remaining time that we have, we try to address as many questions as we can. And I would like to start with Simon Naudi. Simon, if you unmute and there, please share your question with us.
Thank you very much indeed. Lovely to be here. And thank you again, UFI, for organising this. Nice to always hear from Stephan and Holger. My question was actually quite assumptive. I was going to ask, when you measure their performance when they work from home, do you use similar metrics that you would have used in the office, let's say results, or do you measure things like time online or keystrokes or whatever else? But I suppose I should preface that with, if you measure.
Should I start?
Sure.
There's absolutely no difference. The only metric that we have is results. Yeah. So it's delivery of results. We don't measure time. We don't measure, God forbid, keystrokes or things like that. I really hate that. Honestly, I would say I don't really care how many keystrokes or how many hours people spend in front of a computer. If they deliver what they promise to deliver, I'm okay with that. I mean, they are grown-up people. they are senior people in their field, so they know what they're doing. We have to trust them, and we don't measure anything related to time online or time on computer. And there are anyways a lot of ways to cheat that if you want to measure it.
It's absolutely the same here. No keystrokes, no whatever hidden data behind it. It's just the results that matter. And then the techniques in which we measure results, the way how good are our OKRs, when we formalize them a little bit more now, maybe do we learn something by that, and do we even use a more engaging kind of leadership through that? That might be something where you could see differences, but in the end, it's a goal setting and it's a delivery against these goals, and that's what we do as well. No difference on that.
Thank you, Simon, for asking. Moving on to the next question from Tony.
Yes, hi, from Beirut, Lebanon. Thank you very much, UFI, for organizing this. I think my question was kind of answered during the discussion. However, in some job descriptions, specific times are required for people to be online, like they are 9 to 5 in the office. How do you measure that, and how do you motivate team members to be in their working from home, but executing on similar business protocols that they have in the office? Thank you.
Yeah, I take that first if you're okay, Stephan. I mean,
sure.
Typically, I think these daily routines help a lot, and it's not meant as some kind of mechanism to make people work, but just to really make sure everybody on the team is aligned on the same task. So if you have a daily kickoff into the day, stand up virtually, and there define what everybody does throughout the day, and then the other day started by what have you done so far. Last day, which were the difficulties that you faced there, how can we help, and then look at the coming day. That helps a lot. First of all, socially, to keep together, to keep the team together, to make sure everybody knows what the other people are working on, but then also, of course, to structure the day for those who need more help in having their day structured.
Yeah, as far as we're concerned, if we speak about people who have to be present and answer the phone, for example, from 9 to 5, people working in a support team or a customer care team or things like that, these people are already used to work from home 1 or 2 days a week, most of the time. And for them, and they are not measured on the time they're there to answer the phone, but they will be measured in the number of tickets they closed and in the satisfaction survey that we ask the people who call them to fill in. So as far as I'm concerned, the satisfaction of the customer, be it internally or externally, is the only thing that counts in that matter. And I've never had problems with that, and by letting people organize the way they want, and the team knows that they have to, for example, answer the phone from this time to this time. It's up to them to organize themselves. And what we see in these times is that they will discuss with each other, and they will say, "Oh, I have I have the kids tomorrow morning, so can you please take my shift?" and things. I think in companies, people will start to like that with each other. And I don't think it will be a big problem. We don't really make all the measures. I don't think we should in terms of people having to answer phones and to make support tickets or things like that.
Excellent. Thank you, Tony, for your question. I would love to call Ian for his next question.
Thanks, Angela. Stephan and Holger, just out of interest, since working from home, what is your approach in dealing with clients? Is it any different to what it is normally in the office? What sort of line of questioning would you change?
So maybe I can start with that. Well, I'm CTO, so I'm responsible for technology in the company. My team is not really in direct contact with the exhibitors and the visitors. We are more in contact with the internal clients. But as far as I can discuss with my colleagues who are heads of regional offices, it's all about, I would say, keeping the confidence of the customers high in our industry at the moment, and say, look, we're doing our best to serve you. We are completely blocked. We are trying to move the show to the right period, and finding solutions for them as well as for us. So we much more in a customer care kind of communication with the customer, and not really in a sales mood, honestly, because nobody is going to buy anything at the moment. Let's face it, we live in an industry which is basically facing zero revenue for at least 6 months. If you look bluntly at it, that's where we're going. So what's important for us is not to try to get as much revenue as we can now. It's try to make sure that we keep our customers for the longer term. And we've seen announcements, especially yesterday, of organizers having problems because their customers were not happy with the way they were dealing with the postponement of the show, and saying, "Oh, we are leaving the show and we are making a round." This is not something we want to happen. So we're really more in a kind of a customer care type of mood, and not really in a selling mood at the moment.
Thank you. Anything to add to that question?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Mm-hmm. Not that the approach that we would take is so different, Ian, but I like the question a lot, because in a way there is in media, there's this, I think it was Marshall McLuhan who said, the medium is the message. And in a way, just sticking in this here and having a video call out from home to home with a client is a medium, and the medium in itself is a message, and the message behind it is we're all in this together. You're in an exceptional situation, I'm in an exceptional situation, and just having the conversation through that medium in that situation tells something about this situation is difficult, this conversation has to happen, we have enough appreciation for each other to take the time to have the conversation, so now let's talk. I think this gives a lot of confidence in the industry, a lot of a good mood for the other person, and makes me even more optimistic. And yes, you get to know people better from them just because they let you step sneaky in their private lives as much as they feel comfortable with. It's new for many. I know that not everybody loves that, but it lets us move closer together with our clients rather than the other way around.
I think there's also a little bit of that. We are all in this together feeling between the customers and us. They also suffer. They also have a cut in their revenues. They also have to put people on temporary employment and things like that. So everybody is hurt at the moment. So we see quite a nice solidarity between all industry partners and the customers as well.
Thank you, Ian, for your question. Aisha, over to you.
Hi, could you hear me?
Very, very silently. Could you up your microphone maybe a tiny notch?
I'll remove the headset. It's a bit better, is it?
Yes, wonderful. Yes. Much better. Thank you.
Okay. Hi. First of all, thank you so much, UFI, for organizing this. And it's very, very interactive. And I'm very happy that I'm able to, connect with a lot of people here. But my question really is about the technology. So I think I'll put it up to Stephan. And it's more related to because I've been seeing that while managing teams, there have been a lot of technology challenges. And while we're in the office, we have a whole lot of IT team and, a lot of support. So how do we manage this while we're working away from the office? So how do we make sure we provide the support to the teams?
So as far as I'm concerned, we are used to that because my team is based in Brussels, but we're supporting local offices that are everywhere. So most of our users are spread across a lot of different offices. So if the guy calling you from Gothenburg is in Gothenburg office or at his home in Gothenburg and you're in the Brussels office or in your home near Brussels, it doesn't make a lot of difference. So we didn't run into big problems with that, especially that as people were used to work from home. So we already had technologies like VPNs and this type of stuff. So people could access the right tools from their home. So it was not a big challenge, I have to say. And in terms of new technologies and new projects, yeah, we are still working on new technologies, but we are slowing down a little bit, obviously, and we are not rolling out as many things as we generally do, even though it's not much less, I have to say.
Even though the question was towards Stephan, Holger, is there anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, not as deep in tech as Stephan, but actually, for us, it's mobile work. So work mobilely from wherever you want, and you get the little device to take with you. But on the other hand, everybody has to really make sure how can I work mobilely? How can I make my workplace at home as good as it can? And there, everybody is really has to do a little bit, and the tastes are different, and everybody invests a little bit. So here, for example, I'm unboxing my new monitor, because actually that's what I lack. Not only is the camera not working, but I also feel I really need to make sure that I can see you better. So I had to hide the brand name right now, but I'm gonna hang this just over here, right? So this is what the situation is. Everybody is gearing up. Everybody is making his or her workplace more and more effective, and this is part of we're all in this together, and we need to do our best to keep operations running.
I don't know if it's the same for all you people everywhere in the world, but here in Belgium, it's impossible to find a webcam anywhere. So if you don't have a webcam already, you're pretty stuck because they are out of stock everywhere.
That's true. That's very challenging at the moment. Thank you, Aisha, for your question. Sonia, over to you. You have another question.
Yes, hi everyone. It's lovely to see you, Stephan, Holger.
Hi.
In France, we're running very short of flour, chocolate, cooking chocolate, so it's interesting. I have one quick question. Stephan, you mentioned that we're working post-pandemic, to a new model, a new norm. What does that new world look like to you? And Holger, if you wouldn't mind answering as well.
Sure. Well, I think that, as I said, people will want probably to travel less. So maybe it's a good thing for regional events, if you look at trade shows. And especially, I think that when the lockdown will start to be slowly stopped and things will open up again, probably regional events will be allowed maybe earlier than international events. So that's maybe one change. And just the way people do business will probably change. And I think people will be much more acceptant of things like, oh, I couldn't see that visitor on the trade show, but it's okay that I see him on the video call. It's as valuable as seeing him on the trade show. So I think there's still value in face-to-face, but people will understand that there's also value in what we do now. And that it's a perfectly valid way of making business.
Mm.
I think that will be a change. The other thing is that in terms of organizing our own companies, as I said, I don't think people don't like the lockdown, of course, but not a lot of them are missing the traffic jam. And people will think 2 times about saying, maybe I should work 1 day more from home. I think we will get requests from that because people will get used to it, and we see that it actually works.
Mm. A little to add to that, one aspect maybe, and that also comes to what I learned during this crisis situation. This is the "watch your health" phrase that everybody is saying as a salutation at the end of a conversation. And when people or tips were when moving in home office, make sure you take care of your health, was in the beginning just, I have to admit, more of a phrase to me. Yeah, watch your health. Sure, I watch my health. But then I started working in the home office and falling out a little bit of my routines, right? Sitting there even earlier than I used to work because there was no commute. Sitting there and taking the video call, sitting there and taking the telephone call, not having lunch because there was that other call that's just sneaked in because it was an important matter. And I don't know about your watch and your, I had the benefit, Stephan, to step out with the dog in the morning, so I have quite something on my meter, but I completely lost control over my health. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in the beginning, in my first week, home office was really detrimental to my sportive activity and to my health. So then I started to rethink, maybe that's not just a phrase, maybe it's really meant seriously. Do take off your health. Do your workouts, do go running, do walk more with your dogs. And that became more active now and is more conscious. So taking more being more accountant of one's own health, but also being more responsive to the health situation, obviously in a Corona crisis, that the other person is. If you can keep something of that in the post-Corona life and be more outward looking to other people and their behaviors, and being even more self-confident in what we do with our own body, then I think that's also something that an optimist could add to a post-Corona new normal.
Thank you, and thank you for the question, Sonia. Over to Mikita for our last question.
Hi everyone. Thanks. Thanks for letting me ask my question. So I think it's no great surprise that there's been an absolute flood of talk of virtual events, you know, from 3D walking around and looking at the same stands and crowds that we saw in real events to other stuff. I think the real question I have is, do really none of us believe that it's possible to generate revenue in the online space? Because I mean, my personal opinion is that we can. We just haven't found the right format yet. But I'd like to ask what you think about that.
Who wants to go first?
Mr. Digital Marketing Committee. No, but yeah, actually, I mean, many are trying, and many are trying to get up their percentage share of digital revenues within the business of our industry. And it's remarkable tough to find real business models that work on a standalone basis. We do so at Messe München. We have trusted targeting, which is a retargeting instrument and product that works quite well. But and basically that is also running well and being sold in this Corona times, where there is obviously no show running, but where we still have the contacts and where we have valid information and permission retarget contacts on and make these contacts through that mechanism available for our customers. So that is one instrument that is there, but of course there's a need for more digital products, and obviously the hunt is going on if you look through media and if you look through what everybody is experimenting with. I wouldn't feel too weak about, hey, it's impossible for us to find an answer about that, but I wouldn't be as bold as to say, hey, no problem with Corona. Next year we make 50% of our revenue that we would have without halls, and now make it in digital. I think that's these two poles are somewhere the playing field that we find ourselves stuck in.
Yeah, probably the best of us in that field make, I don't know, 5 to 10% of their revenue with digital products in terms of being trade show organizers. We really have to think about growing that. I think it's a matter of resiliency of our companies in times of crisis like the one we have, because basically that's all that's left. And if it's 2% of your revenue and all the rest goes away, well, you will last shorter time than the people for who is 10 or 15% of their revenues. The positive point about that is that, as I was saying before, the whole world just had a crash course in making business remotely. So people understand that it actually works, that it actually has a value, that it's not a gimmick, that it's a real way of having meaningful interaction and business interaction. It can work. And the value of putting people together, which is actually the core of our business, is as valid online as it is offline. So I see no reason why we shouldn't be able to make more revenues online, especially in times like this one.
Thank you, Mikita, for asking a question, and thank you, Stephan and Holger, for answering. Well, we're 2 minutes out. I think we'll stick to the time frame, and I would like to take a second to thank you all for having participated in today's UFI Connects. Thank you so much, Holger and Stephan, for making the time. And I hope you had some fun. I had a lot. Thank you for sharing. A very big thank you goes to our UFI Diamond sponsors, TCEP, Qatar National Tourism Council, Shenzhen World, and Freeman. And if you have any ideas of valuable topics that you would like UFI to address during those sessions, please send us an email or use the hashtag UFI Connects and share your ideas. We continue those sessions in the weeks to come. Keep an eye on our website, www.ufi.org/UFI Connects. As a last sentence, stay safe and stay healthy, and don't forget to move. Bye everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye everyone. Thank you for attending.
Bye bye.